Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I just wanted to send a special birthday shout out to LA Lakers' very own Dwight Howard. I don't do normally birthday shout outs like this. It's not really how I usually go about it. Everybody's birthday comes and goes. I don't do this. But I think it's important to mention Dwight Howard because I saw a stat that showed his best 5 years in Orlando, and the numbers were out of this world. And the thing about it is, I just don't believe, even though most of us say that he's a Hall of Famer, I think that his tenure in Orlando gets just kind of brushed aside like it wasn't a Hall of Fame career by itself. When you think about Kobe Bryant's number 8 career, if he never put on number 24, he was still a Hall of Famer. If he retired instead of turning his number into 24, that was a Hall of Famer. I look at Dwight Howard's first half of his career in that same vacuum. It's like, you're not going to take away that whole 8 years of him dominating this league as an entirely different person, basically, just because of what happened after he left Orlando and how his career panned out up to this point. I mean, yeah, he did win a championship, and he wasn't necessarily a superstar, so that's all understood and taken into account. But them 8 years, you got to put them alone by themselves as if that's an entirely different person. And when you do, you understand that he ain't been getting the respect that he deserves out of Orlando. Now, I already have mentioned this, but it never sat right with me that Orlando does not retire any of their Hall of Fame player jerseys or some of the best players' jerseys. I think that's egregious. It's a choice that the owner made, and I guess everybody there is on the same page. But I'm telling you, as somebody not from there, as somebody who's a Laker fan and watches NBA stuff and all that, Orlando needs to start retiring these people's jerseys. Number 32 needs to go up. Number 12 needs to go up. Number 1 needs to go up. It's a few others, too, that Orlando definitely needs to put up. They didn't retire Penny's jersey, and they let T-Mac wear it. They need to put them up, both of them up, retire both of those number 1s, and never let nobody wear number 1 again. It's just little stuff like that I just feel like kind of hurt Dwight Howard as far as being put on the 75 list. Now, granted, if you're talking to people who are actually around the league and stuff like that, nobody actually forgot he played for the Orlando Magic. But there's something psychologically to be said for going into the Orlando Magic's arena and not seeing his jersey up there, then coming back around and voting for the top 75 and not putting him in there. If they were to go to Orlando and see his jersey up in the stands every time they enter that building, it would be less in my opinion, a likelihood for him to have been forgotten in regards to that situation. It's just Orlando needs to do what they gotta do for the players that have played for their league, their team. They have to retire these jerseys, in my opinion. They are not helping. They are not helping. Put it like that. In that situation, I do not think they are helpful. And you gotta understand, Orlando is not. You know, I think about the Thunder. Obviously, they just got there. You know what I mean? They ain't retired no jerseys yet. Obviously, the Seattle people, yeah. Look at the Clippers. They've had a long tenure, but they haven't had, Hall of Famers up until Chris Paul came. So they ain't got no jerseys to really retire yet. Not yet. You can get it from other teams. You understand why that's the case. Orlando, nah. Hell nah. They don't have that type of history. In the however many years, 30 years they've been in the league, they've been to the finals twice. They've got players that have retired and gone to the Hall of Fame. They've had guys, some of the most noteworthy names, have put on their uniform. They've had a good, way above average crop of players come through their arena, to be honest with you. And it's just, Dwight Howard's been the best of them. He's the best of them. He is the greatest Orlando Magic of all time. Sorry, Shaq. Sorry, Penny. Sorry, T-Mac. Those guys were amazing. They set their own tone, but none of them had better tenures in Orlando and had a higher peak in Orlando. And I just think about how he dominated defensively, rebounding, shot blocking, minutes played, usage. His numbers was up there with everybody's in terms of usage. Whole team was built around him. He was basically the only defensive mind on the team, and yet they were one of the best defensive teams in the game because of it. I mean, you got to understand how impactful this guy was. He didn't hardly miss no games in that 8-year span. He didn't hardly miss no All-Star games in that 8-year span. I mean, the domination was overwhelming in that era. Overwhelming. defensively and rebounding. Overwhelmed. And so to say this man is not a top 75 player, and I look at some of the other players on the names on that list, and I just say, nah, man. On this man's birthday, I'm going to let y'all know that was absolutely egregious. Egregious. Him not being on that top 75. It's laughable. Literally, maybe 15 of them names need to slide aside so D12 can actually be where he needs to be in NBA history, in my opinion. And you can't even take away from the fact that he doesn't have a ring, because he does. He literally has a championship. So, happy birthday, Dwight, man. Somebody need to tell the truth about how it's going. And in my opinion, man, that's a Hall of Famer without even thinking twice. No waiting, first ballot. Get him in there. Put the jacket on. Like, that's how I feel about Dwight Howard. I understand he's limited, you know what I mean? He's had certain parts of his game. It's not like he's the greatest Hall of Famer to ever play or some crazy stuff. But when you put him in his proper place, ain't no question about whether or not where he belongs. He should be in the Hall of Fame. And of course, you want to give credit to the fact that he has turned his image around. You know, when you talk about Dwight Howard as somebody who had a rough image, that's why he's somewhat being a historically blackballed. That's what I'm calling it. Because, you know, it went poorly. With Orlando, he forced his way out of there. It went poorly in LA. That we didn't have the greatest tenure the first time, of course. And then, of course, he went to other places and he was a role player and all of that until 2020 when he came back around with us and got a championship. But, you know, we just have to kind of not put him in that vacuum to start accounting those second half of his career as a role player and stuff like that, and just saying, no, he's not a Hall of Famer because of what happened after that. That's not what we do with everyone. We don't do that with everyone. So we need to not do that with him, who was better than a lot of those we did that with. So that's what I wanted to say. A guy who always encourages his teammates. You know, I make it a point to mention how he comes to not only the defense, but the encouragement of teammates who have struggled more than once. I've seen him do this on our team more than once. So, you know, that needs to be accounted for when you're considering his interactions in the league, people who he may have made upset or made happy. He's done some good things. He showed some good energy, too, out there that should be mentioned as well. So that's what I want to say, man. Just a Dwight Howard appreciation. I'm happy he's here. He's not having the greatest year with us, but that's not even part of the equation. We're just talking about what the man has accomplished and the credit that he deserves. And it's a lot more than he's getting. So that's what I wanted to say for sure. So that's what I got, man. Happy birthday, Dwight Howard. Thanks for, years of hooking us up with effort and the redemption story with the Lakers. You got a home here, and we got your back, bro. Peace.